Okay guys, in this video I'm going to explain about IKFK connection to the bind joints. Okay, so now I have FK connections as well as IK connections. Okay, first let me gonna hide IK joints and FK joints. Okay, IK controller, FK controller as well. So now I have only bind joints over here. Okay, just expand IK and FK. So first you need to select IK shoulder, FK shoulder, then bind joint shoulder. Okay, so go to rigging, constrain and apply parent constraint. Reset first, maintenance offset on and add. Okay, same for the elbow and same for the wrist. First select elbow IK, elbow FK, then elbow bind joint. Go to constraint and apply parent constraint. Okay, so next one is wrist. Select IK wrist, FK wrist and bind joint. Go to constraint and apply parent constraint. So if I select shoulder bind joint and press, now you can see here it is our connections. I'm gonna unhide. So expand this. Now here it is. Wrist, elbow and shoulder constraints. Okay. Okay. So after making connection between IK FK joints to the bind joints, next one is to make a switch. This is called IKFK switch. So what does it mean? It means we need a one joints and controller activate in the one times. Like if we are in the FK modes, it means FK joints and controller will work only same time. Okay. Then if we in the FK mode, it means FK joints and controller will work only same time. That's why we need a switch. Okay, so next one is switch. For switch, need to create controller first. This time I'm using this circle. Okay, so rename first. This one is IK FK switch. Just select switch and wrist bind joint. Okay, so once again just select switch and wrist bind joints. Go to modify mesh transformations off, so it will snap to bind joints. Just select controller and reposition it out. So I want this controller controlled by this wrist joint, bind joints. Okay, why? Because rotate this controller. Okay. Like this, and see, it will not follow this controller. Okay. 0. So hide FK controller, unhide bind joints. Just select controller first, go to modify and freeze transformation. Everything is 0 and added history delete because I don't want any input value over here. So first select controller, then select bind joint. This one is wrist bind joint. Press P. Okay, so if I rotate this joint, it will follow. Then select controller, then select all access. Okay. Lock and hide option, use lock and hide. Okay. Now for the IKFK switch we need to create external attributes. So for that, go to edit, add attribute, long name is IKFK, okay, and data type float, minimum value 0, maximum value 1, and add. So now I have IKFK switch 0 to 1, okay, with decimal value. So next one is to make a connection between IKFK switch to constraint. Okay, first select switch over here, then window, and use node editor. Okay. So now I have switch over here, then select switch and expand. Okay. So now you can see here it is IKFK switch. Okay. Now next one is we need to add constraints. I'm talking about these constraints. Just select shoulder, elbow, and wrist, and use plus sign to add this constraint inside this node editor. Okay. Shoulder, elbow, and wrist. Select all three constraints and expand. Okay. So now here it is. We have shoulder IK weight 0 and shoulder FK weight 1. So first we need to create a connection between switch and constraints. So use IKFK switch, drag and connect with FK. Okay, shoulder, FK, elbow, and FK wrist. Okay. Next one is IK. For the IK we need to use reverse node. So why we use reverse node? Because of if we are in the FK, then it will switch only FK. So if we are in the IK, then it will switch on only in the IK. So now here it is, you can see we have three different types of input nodes and three different types of output nodes. Okay, so first we need to make a connection between IKFK switch to the input X, and output X is your IK shoulder, IK elbow, and IK wrist. Okay, so now it's done. Here it is, you can see when we in the FK, then FK joint will work. Only. Okay. So when we in the FK, select this. Yes, it will work. So when we in the IK, then IK will work only. Okay, so next one is we need to add visibility. Okay, so when we in the IK, then wrist controller and elbow controller are only visible. So when we in the FK, then shoulder, elbow, and wrist controller only visible. First, you need to select this controller, go to animation, key, set driven key, and set. So here it is, you can see we have a load driver and driven. What does it mean? It means this is your driver, and all of the control like IK control and FK control is driven by this controller. So first select switch load under driver, then select wrist controller and elbow controller load under driven. Okay. Select switch first, so 0 means IK, select both controller, then select visibility and key. Okay, so next one is FK. So when we in the FK, then select both controller means wrist and elbow, and visibility should be 0 and key. Okay, so once again more, just select switch, load under driver, then select all three controller like shoulder, elbow and wrist, load under driven. So this time we need to control FK switch, FK controllers. Okay, so first select switch. So when we in the FK, it means shoulder, elbow, wrist and its visibility on, key. Okay, then select switch. When we in the IK, then again select shoulder, elbow, wrist and visibility off and key. Okay, so now see, if we are in the IK, it means IK joints will work. So if we are in the FK, means 1, then shoulder, elbow and wrist will work. So now I'm done with my IK and FK switch. Next one is to add a little bit detailing. I'm talking about, like, if I select wrist controller, I don't want scale value over here. Just select axis, use lock and hide options. Okay, and select visibility, use lock selector. Same for the switch visibility, select visibility, lock selector. Okay, so the FK, I don't want any translate value and scale value. Right click, lock and hide. Same for the elbow, translate, scale, lock and hide. And for the wrist, translate, scale, lock and hide. Okay, select all three controller and visibility, lock. So now when we IK, just rotate wrist controller. If I rotate this controller, if rotation is not working properly, then select pole vector pole vector controller, elbow controller, press F and delete this follow constraint group, follow constraint first. Okay, now if I rotate, not working properly, then select wrist controller, then select wrist IK. Go to rigging, under constraint and use orient constraint. Reset first, maintenance offset on and add. So if I rotate this controller, it will rotate. And translate as well. Here. Make sure clean everything. It means just select controller and I don't want any input value over here. Okay, go to edit and delete history. Yes, it is working well. Okay. Select controller, I don't want any rotation value, scale value, right click, lock and hide and visibility, lock. Okay guys, next one is file maintenance. Okay, so for the file maintenance, what does it mean? It means, so we need a separate group for the joint, separate group for the controller, okay, and separate group for the geo. First select bind joints and create another group. So this group called all joint group. All joint group. Okay. Select right shoulder FK joint group. Right shoulder FK joint group. Create another group. So this group called right IKFK joint group, and it will parent under all joint group. Just select IKFK joint, then select all joint group, press P. Here it is, you can see IKFK joint group are there. So next one is select FK controller, IK controller, then create another group. So this is called right IK FK controller group. Okay, so now I have all joint group and right IKFK controller group. Okay guys, this video is about how you can improve your rig style. Suppose I don't want this should be like a boring color. Okay, so I want this should be like a interesting color, like shoulder means wrist controller, elbow controller, IKFK switch, and also FK controller as well. So for that, just select controller, press Ctrl A, scroll down, and here it is. We have object display. Under object display, scroll down, and here we have drawing overrides. Okay, just enable overrides and select color. I'm using for the right side, let's see yellow for the pole vector, elbow controller, yellow, and switch. I'm using for the switch, I'm using green. How's about red? Yes, it's okay. So press 1, F key, press Ctrl A, inside object display, under object display, drawing overrides, just enable drawing overrides. And for the FK controller, I think I'm using about red. This is fine. Let's change this color. First enable red. Press control. Enable red. So this make like a interesting rig. So this make like a actually why I'm using color to the controller, because it looks like beautiful, simple. Okay, actually why I'm making color to the controller, because it's looking beautiful, it's looking nice. Okay, because it's looking nice. Okay, this one is pole vector and elbow controller. If you want to add annotations, so annotations just like indications. First you need to select controller, then go to create, and select annotations. So this one is elbow controller. Just select annotation, press V and drag and drop to elbow controller. Just select annotation, bind joints, okay guys, next one is annotations. So what does it mean by annotation? Is just like indications to show you this one is elbow controller. So first select elbow controller, go to create and use annotations. So annotation for elbow controller, just select annotation, press V and snap to elbow joints. Okay. So now if I move the wrist controller, annotation will not follow. I want this will follow to this joint. Okay. First you need to select elbow controller, then select annotation. Okay. Go to constraint and apply parent constraint. So if I rotate, now this will follow. You can change, yes you can change this color. Select annotation, press Ctrl A, select annotation tool here, under display, drawing overrides, enable. So let's try with red. Yellow is okay. This one is okay, and I don't want this locator visibility over here. Okay, so just switch off this visibility, locator, object display, visibility off. So this make a sense. Okay, this one is, so this make a sense. And if you want hide this text visibility, then what you can do, just select annotation, annotation shape 1 under text, then delete this text. Okay, so now I'm done with my IKFK joints, IKFK controller, switch and annotations. So I will see you in the next time.